Hello, everybody. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of some thoughts I had regarding these entity relationship designs, especially as it relates to data versus attributes. This is one of those areas where new database designers tend to struggle a little bit as to what to include as an attribute, uh, and sometimes they overlay that with the data value. And I'll give you an example. If we had a hypothetical data set, uh, a product category, for example, we might have multiple sizes, uh, shirt, pants. So you'd have values. And if you were to store these in an Excel table, you'd list, the size, and then down the rows, you'd list the various size options available, small, medium, extra large, so on. And what will often happen is for new people designing a database, they'll take that concept as you would have it written out in Excel, and they'll create their ERD with those same uh, values input as the attribute. They'll call a size table, and then they'll go ahead and build name, small, medium, for each input table on the left. And turns out those are not equal. Those are not the same thing. Right, if you were to look at what you created in ERD on the right hand side, it would look more like this as a table in Excel. It would be a table with a column of a name of each of those attribute fields ERD. And so I'm going to walk through a broader example of how this works. And it also leaves you the question of what do you do? So if you when you were to follow this structure, it leaves the question of what gets put on the road because there really isn't any new information you can add there. And it also has the question of what do you do if you have hundreds or even thousands of possible values? Let's say we're not talking about size now, we're talking name or color with several more entries than you have space for. You wouldn't want to put your data values in your ERD. You want to put types. So we're looking at don't confuse data values for entity attributes. So think of an ERD as the information about the information or called metadata. So here's an example, a little bit broader of a sales database that we're going to try and build out and how we would identify the correct attributes as we're building up our ERD. So, as example, we have an Excel table here. We've got our customer data, one tab. We've got catalog data in another tab. We've got our order data here, and I'll get into order item later on. But if we take those three entities, we're dropping them in here just to put them all together. Each of those tables would look like this. The table names or the tabs, those are going to be your entities. Column headers, those are going to be your attributes for your field. And then the rows are going to be your records and your values. Those are not part of your ERD. Those are going to be part of your insert date that you do after. So let's look at the customer table and how that breaks out. So you'd start with your customer name or your customer, the name of the entity as you're creating your first table. And then those column headers are going to be your attributes. So what about the values? We talked about this a second ago. Do they go into the ERD? They do not. They belong in the data tables in your insert statement that you do after the ERDs are created and the database is forward engineered with create. So let's move on to some cardinality questions talking about one to many or many to one. So each order will have only one customer, and each customer may place many orders. So that's where you have your one to many. So your many is going to go on the side that can have many of them. And then your foreign key will be pulled over from the one side to the many side. So each order will have a custom record, the reference bank. Now each order may contain many products, and each product may be ordered many times. So this is where we have our many to many, and thankfully our MySQL Workbench automatically creates a linking table when we create a many-to-many join. We'll end up with a linking table order item with our one-to-manys pointing to that. All right, hope that helps as you're working on creating your ERDs and reverse engineering. And if you have any questions, be sure to drop those in our questions and comments discussion board each week. Take care.